Good morning! Guess where I am? I am in Washington, D.C. because your girl got invited by the State Department to go to a travel creator open house. I'm going to be learning about travel safety and passport information and a bunch of important stuff so I can bring it back to y'all. DC in the fall is so cute, and I was really glad that I got this free trip. Well, it wasn't completely free, but I got reimbursed, which is free to me. Now, I've been to DC a few times before, but before things got started, I wanted to make sure that I took some time to look around because, again, it was free. But the Capitol was in full inauguration prep, so things were a little messy, and this is the best view I could give you of the White House. Now, the actual event took place at the Foreign Services Institute in Arlington, Virginia, which is also a cute city. Gotta give y'all props. But can we please take a moment to talk about how your girl was one of the few travel creators invited by the United States State Department to come out? Like, do you know how many travel creators there are in the United States? I don't know, but I'm sure it's a lot, and I was so grateful. After a cute little icebreaker, we got to know a little bit more about some of the folks at the State Department who invited us out. I really went from having 4,000 followers on Instagram to having friends at the State Department. Y'all really can't tell me nothing now. And after that, we went on a tour around the campus, and I promise I was paying attention, but content. Speaking of content, there was no explicit request that we make anything, but they were happy to see that we did come out with a lot of cool information that we can share with y'all. Now, one of the first things we talked about was passports, which was really helpful because we're travelers. Like, here's something I learned. You can renew your passport online. I had a friend who did that, and I was like, girl, are you sure? Like, I really thought she was just not about to get her passport because last I checked, you couldn't do that. They also told us about different types of passports, and honestly, I really only thought there was one, so this was news to me. Like, diplomats and certain people in the military get different passports. And there's also the passport card, which is cheaper, and you can use it for travel by land and sea. But the one I found most interesting was the emergency passport, because I'd always wondered, what happens if you lose your passport while you're traveling? If you lose your passport abroad, you can usually get one within a day if you go to the nearest US embassy or consulate. And you can make things move faster with a digital copy of your passport and extra passport photos. Oh yeah, and if you are applying for a new passport, make sure to pay your taxes and child support because that will have your application denied quick fast. After our passport session, we got to sit down for lunch with a couple of diplomats, which was really cool because I learned about the language learning process they go through in order to be stationed in different countries. And in case you were wondering, Duolingo is not gonna cut it. Some of the diplomats we met also do visa interviews in booths like this to determine whether or not someone can get a visa to enter the United States. And from what I understand, these interviews are quick, like you're lucky if you get 5 minutes. A large part of what they try to figure out is if you have enough of a compelling reason to go back to your home country after a short stay. Like a whole family, a good job, a real attractive side piece, something. The most interesting thing they showed us had to be this mock jail cell that they used to practice prison visits. So what happens when you get in trouble abroad and you're locked up, they won't let you out? Unfortunately, the US government can't let you out either, but they can make sure that you're being treated right and they can help you find legal resources. So if you're in jail for real. So just don't get in trouble. Which brings me to probably one of the most important resources that the US government has for you. Travel.state.gov has all the important information you need for every country before you go. This is where you'll find important health, safety, and security information, and you can find out if something that's completely legal in the United States might get you in trouble in another country. Seriously, there is a lot of helpful information here. Now, you also need to know about step.state.gov. I register all my trips here before I go anywhere. This will give you real-time safety updates before and during your trip. And don't worry about getting too many emails because you can also just set an end date for when you no longer need the updates. This was a really informative and fun event. And by the way, if you're looking for a job with benefits and free language classes, apparently the Foreign Services Institute had their biggest hiring surge in 10 years back in 2023. So you might want to look into that. Now, before my flight the next morning, I somehow found myself at the club in corduroy pants. It was cute. I had never experienced DC nightlife before, and it just so happened to be the night of the Tyson and Paul fight. Did any of y'all watch that? I felt a little uncomfortable, but I guess it just wasn't for me. So that's a wrap. I hope you guys learned a lot, just like I did, and you might be wondering why I am in the middle of a Best Buy right now, and that's because my mic broke literally right in the middle. So I need to get one because I'm going to Jamaica in a day, so I really need this mic. So anyway, make sure that you like and subscribe for more travel stories and travel content and more influencer life stuff.